معرفة.
Assalamu alaikum. Hussam, can you please come down to my place?
Wa alaikum assalam. Why, what happened? Is everything okay?
Please come over. I want to discuss with you in person.
Assalamu alaikum Majid.
Walaikum assalam. Please come in.
Yes, Majid, is everything okay? You sounded worried over the phone.
I'm into some financial problems. Well, I took a loan from a bank to invest in export business. But due to losses, I am unable to pay back the loan in time. And as you know, with the extension of the loan duration, the compounding interest is charged over the loan amount. And I don't know how to manage this situation.
Don't worry, it'll be all right. We will inshallah find out a way.
But the banker is expected here for the loan recovery.
Listen, I'll discuss with him once he comes here.
As you know, business is always a risk, and I lost even all my savings because of this loan.
My goodness. That means you have saved nothing for your children, your old age and emergencies?
Yes, you are right, Hussam. I don't even have savings now. Please help me get out of this mess.
Do you know what Islam says about savings? Islam always encourages savings so that you get out of this kind of situation. Savings is a very important aspect of human life. Islam recognizes and encourages savings.
Really?
Yes, Majid. Islam emphasizes on savings. We can find the guidelines both in the Quran and the Sunnah. For your reference, the story of Prophet Yusuf, may peace be upon him, in the Holy Quran, in which he advised the people of Egypt to save for the coming drought-prone 7 years, and a hadith in which Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, strongly advised one of his companions, Ibn Afra, may Allah be pleased with him, to save money so that in case of Ibn Afra's death, his family should have enough money for survival.
What are the possibilities of saving money?
In fact, as of today, there are many avenues available such as Islamic investment account, takaful, Islamic funds, etc. to save money.
Please tell me more about it.
An Islamic investment fund generally refers to a joint pool wherein investors contribute their money for the purpose of its investment to earn profits in conformity with the Sharia principles.
Then, who pools the money and what is done with pooled money?
The fund manager pools the money from investors and invests the pooled money in a Sharia compliant manner.
How does it work?
An Islamic fund executes its function through a legal entity which can be a company or a trust or can be a partnership fund. It is formed with the contractual relationship between the fund and the investors.
Then how about the contract between the fund and the investors?
The contractual relationship between the fund and the investors will be based on the Islamic finance structures such as musharaka, mudaraba, wakala. For example, if the structure applied is mudaraba, then the fund manager representing the fund acts as mudarib and the investors as a Rabbul Mal.
You said that the fund manager invests the money in a Sharia compliant way. But how is it ensured that the investment processes are in a Sharia compliant way?
A Sharia board is appointed by the fund manager that gives Sharia guidelines to ensure the investment and fund management is done in a Sharia compliant way.
What is a Sharia board and how does it guide the fund?
The Sharia board guides the fund manager in case of investment on how to perform the investment activities and conduct the Sharia screening of the business entities. In addition, to check whether the Sharia guidelines are implemented effectively, a regular Sharia audit is conducted.
Sharia screening?
Yes, Sharia screening of the company in which the fund is to be invested is done on the basis of prescribed Sharia parameters in relation to the nature of business and the financial dealings of the respective company.
Tell me more about the Sharia principles regarding nature of business of the company.
For the investment purpose, the basic rule regarding the nature of business of the company is that the core business activity of the company should not be prohibited one, such as the production and distribution of goods and services, such as alcohol, tobacco, pork-related products, conventional financial services, vulgar entertainment, etc.
Okay. Now tell me about the financial dealings of the company.
There is a ceiling provided by the Sharia scholars with respect to the considered financial parameters. If any company exceeds the ceiling, then it is considered to be prohibited for investment.
What are those considered financial parameters?
The financial parameters are the income generated through non-Sharia compliant activities of the company, and interest-bearing debt, cash, and accounts receivable. All the parameters except the income generated through non-Sharia compliant activities of the company are compared with either market capitalization or the total assets of the company, whereas the income generated through non-Sharia compliant activities of the company is referred in relation to the total income of the company.
Do all the parameters have the same ceiling?
Yes, almost. For example, the interest-bearing debt, cash, and account receivables have the ceiling of 30 to 33%, whereas for the income generated through non-Sharia compliant activities of the company, the ceiling is 5%.
Tell me the principle behind using 30 to 33% ceiling.
It is a guiding principle Sharia scholars have laid down as an exception after analyzing thoroughly the current financial situation of the companies.
Hello, Majid. How are you doing today?
Hi, please come in. Meet my friend Hussam. He works for an Islamic bank.
Hello.
Hi, John here.
So you work for Z Bank?
Yes, Hussam. So, Majid, what have you decided about the payment?
Excuse me, Mr. John. Can I arrange the funds through any of the Islamic banks?
Absolutely not an issue. So, by when can I expect the payment?
We both will be coming to your office tomorrow and start the settlement process.
Wonderful. By the way, nice meeting you, Mr. Hussam. And Mr. Majid, thank you for your cooperation. I will make a move now and see you tomorrow.
I will call you before coming to the bank.
Okay, that's fine.
Thanks, Hussam, for dealing with the banker. I am so relieved, man. Oh, God, such a relief.
Anytime.
Let's get back to our discussion. We were talking about the company's debt and equity structure.
Let's start with debt. Debt is one of the important sources for almost every company to raise the fund or capital. The capital raised helps in formation of assets. So when a fund manager purchases a share of any company for investment, the share reflects the ownership rights in the underlying assets of the company. But if the capital structure consists of equity, that is the part of the capital contributed by the owner of the company, as well as the debt, that is the part of the capital borrowed from others, then the underlying asset also reflects the same proportion of equity and debt. If the debt in the capital structure is more than 30 to 33%, then it means that the whole capital is debt, and in relation to that, the asset formed by that capital is considered as debt. And in Sharia perspective, one cannot trade the debt or debt-based instrument at premium or at discount, as it is riba, that is interest, and which is prohibited in Islam.
What are the other parameters?
The screening for cash as well as accounts receivable is similar. Cash is of course cash which the company has, and the accounts receivable is the money which the company is expecting from its customers to pay it for services and goods provided by the company. These two parameters are viewed from the tangibility perspective. In Sharia, it is necessary that any financial instrument which is traded in the market must be backed by a tangible or physical asset. If the fund manager is trading in a share of a company, then cash and accounts receivable of that company must be less than 30 to 33%. If either of the two parameters exceeds the ceiling, then the asset will be considered as cash or receivable. Hence, trading in the instrument backed by such an asset is not allowed in Sharia, because one cannot trade cash at premium or at discount, as it resembles riba, that is interest, which is prohibited in Islam.
Okay. What is the logic behind 5% ceiling in income from interest-based earnings?
It is simple that due to the unavailability of Islamic financial services, some companies may involve an interest-based earning. In addition to this, some companies may earn through some of their activities which are non-Sharia compliant. It is agreed by the Sharia scholars that in such a case, however, the income from such source must not be more than 5% of the total income of the company. By the way, in case of impure income, the investor has to purify its return proportionately.
You mentioned market capitalization and total assets.
As I mentioned earlier, that interest-bearing debt, cash, accounts receivable are compared with the market capitalization or total assets. Here, the total assets is something that a company owns at a given time period. It includes both tangible and intangible assets.
Oh, tell me about market capitalization.
Total market capitalization, frequently referred as just market cap, is the total market value of a company's outstanding shares. Market capitalization is calculated by multiplying a company's shares outstanding by the current market price of one share. The investment community uses this figure to determine a company's value. Because there will be fluctuations in share prices, the Sharia indices are using the average market cap, which is equal to total market cap divided by trailing of 24 months or 36 months.
Just now you said something about purification of impure income of fund. What is that?
Purification in relation to Islamic funds simply means deducting from one's investment those earnings the source of which is not acceptable from a Sharia point of view.
What are the different types of Islamic funds available?
Based on the Islamic contracts, the Islamic funds can be Murabaha fund, Musharaka fund, Ijara fund, while in relation to the underlying asset of the fund, they are equity fund, Sukuk fund, commodity fund, an exchange-traded fund. These funds are either closed-ended funds or open-ended funds, and in these kinds of funds, one can invest one's savings. So Majid, I think you understood the importance of savings now.
Absolutely.
No problem. What's the time now? It's time for Asr prayers. Let us go to the mosque. After the prayer, I have to rush for a meeting. Majid, remember, we have to go to the bank tomorrow and make sure you carry all the papers.
And thank you again for helping me and guiding me.